This episode brought to you by Woke Spokes, the bicycle spokes for the socially conscious. Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk, an opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Your panel of expert hosts each week are Dr. Bryce Hanson, who holds a PhD in spookology, and Professor David Day, the foremost expert on scare no-nos. New theatrical releases always get priority, but we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. I'm Bryce Hanson.
And I'm David Day.
Every time.
Every time. It wouldn't be an HMT episode if my levels weren't forgotten.
And special guest, Eric.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Studio audience is really into it.
They're lovely.
You guys may remember Eric from such episodes as The Prodigy.
What an episode.
What a great episode. It was a good episode for us. It was just not a great movie.
Yeah. So to start out, I want to make sure you guys know that we have a website called horrormovietalk.com. Check that out. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at horrormovietalk. And you'll find links to other social media on our website as well. We post new episodes every Wednesday, so please subscribe and leave a rating on Apple Podcasts. We've got a great show today. We're going to be talking about the new 2019 model of Black Christmas.
Oh boy, let's hear about that.
We'll start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being a miserable dredge where it makes you angry, 5 being an average film that hits all the expected marks, and 10 being so good it transcends genre boundaries. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. And then later we'll be doing a couple bits. We'll do taglines and a new game called Black Christmas or Black Christmas or Black Christmas.
Okay, I can guess what this is.
So let's talk about this movie.
Can I make a request that we let Eric plug his stuff at the top of the show?
Sure. Yeah.
Because I would like to mention that I used to work with Eric. As of yesterday, we worked at the same company, and now he's as of yesterday, he quit his job to devote all of his time to his band. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. And it's a step that was not scary to take at all.
He quit his stable, nice 9-to-5 job to concentrate on his band. So bravo, first of all. That's a huge step.
Thank you, sir. So I'm in the band from the Northwest called My Brothers and I. We've been doing it for maybe 3 or 4 years. And it's consisting of my brothers and myself.
Shocking.
And a family friend that has lived with us in the past for various reasons, so basically a brother. So yeah. That's kind of what it is. So we'll be focusing on writing music. We have an album that's done, but it hasn't been released yet, so we'll be working on rolling that out as well. And yeah, that's about it. So also working with like co-writing for other people, stuff like that.
Where can people find you online?
Anywhere. Spotify. Last year was really good for us. I think we got a few fans actually from the podcast, so I appreciate you guys for letting us come on.
Oh, baby.
We had 4.9 million streams last year.
Wow.
On Spotify, which was good. I'm still trying to figure out where the money is.
You're doing a little better.
But the numbers look good, so there's that. But it was a fun year for us.
What kind of music would you say that is? Just so people have it.
It's like alternative with some easy listening thrown in, so
yeah.
Like college campuses like to hire us because we won't get the student body in trouble, so I don't know if that's a good indicator, but
I like it. I've listened to it. I enjoy it. What about Facebook or Instagram, Twitter?
Yeah, we're better at Instagram. Twitter, we're upping our game a little bit. We may tweet about sports more than we should, but if you follow us, know that we won't post 3 times a day. We try not to be too annoying about it. We may post like a couple times a week just so people can stay up to date. So we won't flood their walls or anything like that with posts.
Cool, man. Okay. Well, thanks for coming, Eric. We appreciate you watching this movie. And
it was fantastic.
It was fantastic.
Okay, so this week we saw the new Black Christmas, and it was empowering? Here's the trailer.
It's my privilege to teach you this semester. Enjoy your winter breaks and Merry Christmas.
What's up, ladies? Excited for tonight?
It is our last day of our last fall semester of college ever.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring.
Can you take a photo of all of us?
Of course.
Where's Helena?
She was pounding back sodas earlier, but she looked really good.
Cheese.
We shouldn't have let her go back by herself. She's fine. Come on, live a little.
The frosty air.
No, wait. Helena hasn't gotten home yet.
If I were missing, I'd want you to unleash the bloodhounds and track me down.
She was at DKO last night.
Still creating problems, all right?
Hello? Hello? I'm worried that something bad happened.
It's winter break. Could just be a delay of some sort. Snow.
My friend is missing.
9 times out of 10, the girl's just with a boyfriend.
I will bring you to your knees. There's someone in the house.
What the?
This can't be real.
This school has 200 years of history. Many sacrifices have been made to keep our traditions alive.
You're all insane.
I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of running. Go, 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 go! Ho, 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 bitch. You messed with the wrong sisters.
Mistletoe alert.
Black Christmas can be found in theaters now. Sabina, Elena, and Jane are working for the mysterious Charles Townsend, whose security investigative company has expanded internationally with the world's smartest, bravest, and most highly trained women all over the globe. There are now teams of angels guided by... Oh, wait, that's Charlie's Angels.
I was like, what is happening?
Black Christmas is the second in the increasingly loosely based remakes of Bob Clarke's 1974 Black Christmas. The story follows 4 close-knit Hawthorne College sorority sisters named Riley, Chris, Marty, and Jessie during the very beginning of winter break. While most of the campus is abandoned by students going home for the holidays, these bold Gen Z women opt to stay on campus and party with the other Christmas holiday orphans. Soon it's apparent that they are all being stalked by a mysterious man or men who are attacking and killing sorority sisters one by one. As we follow Sophie and company, it's revealed that the stalker/stalkers are part of a larger, more nefarious conspiracy, the patriarchy.
Oh, shit.
Written, directed, and led by young women, this film's Diva Cup runneth over with female empowerment. It is so loosely based on the original that it barely maintains the scaffolding of women at college being stalked by a killer. What it does bring to the party is a straight-ahead, unsubtle social commentary for today's generation of women. I imagine that this film is going to get a lot of hate, and there are a lot of creative and studio decisions that hinder its success. But I must say that I admire the creative vision of this movie. It seems to be a genuine attempt to reimagine Black Christmas through the lens of today's generation with today's technology. Supplanting themes of abortion rights and women's lib are the modern themes of rape culture and, well, still women's wib. I guess we're still working on that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, still not great. Like I said before, it's not subtle in its messaging of social commentary. But in this case, I prefer the straight-ahead messaging versus lame, tacked-on virtue signaling that other woke horror movies sometimes use. like, I don't know. Do you notice that sometimes where it's like,
yeah,
hey, this is exactly like every other horror movie for the last like 3 decades?
This is?
No, I'm talking about like
just
other horror movies.
Some generic horror movie doing
But then they have one character talk about like the importance of like non-binary gender or something.
Yeah.
Like that's going to make this film
Yeah,
work.
that's going to be the thing that makes everybody go, woo! Yeah, it's like, okay, well, it's fine. It's just crammed in there. Yeah, this definitely makes no allusion as to what its bent is. Like, and I got to be honest with you, you know, like my initial knee-jerk reaction to this kind of thing is like, it's kind of an eye roll. But on the other hand, you know, I have 2 little girls, right. And I know what dudes are like. They're not cool. They are, you know, but they're getting a lot cooler. And I don't know if it's because of efforts like this. I don't know if it's because as a society we're just becoming better people. But there's a part of the messaging in this movie that I do appreciate. The subtlety I don't appreciate because it is slap you in the face, drag you around the room, just very obvious.
Yeah. In terms of plot, this film goes charging off the rails in the third act. The end is truly ridiculous, but it is good campy fun regardless. The biggest hindrance and distraction of this film, and I think one of the biggest criticisms online about this is something that I agree with, is its PG-13 rating. It's so distracting and jarring at points that it resembles a television edit from the late 80s.
Yeah.
But since they wanted to market the film to the younger generation of women moviegoers, they had to say
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon
to their R rating.
Yeah. Yeah, it was at first I was like, why is the blood black? And then they addressed it. And they were like, the blood's black because of the thing that you will learn later in the movie.
Yeah, but did they address it though?
Not really. They're like, why isn't he bleeding?
It's black now because that's the way it is.
Because of the way it is. Yeah, there was a bunch of weird things to make it just kind of shoehorned in there to make it PG-13.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of the more distracting edits in the movie that pulled me out of it. But before we get into that, let's talk about what is our score for this movie.
Yeah, I mean, well, what do you think? What you're leading this parade? What do you think?
I mean, with all its flaws, I feel like it's still better than average.
Yeah, I do too.
I give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
It's not something that I'm going to think about a lot later. It's not something that I'm super enthused about, but it was entertaining enough that I wasn't completely disengaged from watching it.
Yeah, as far what do you think, Eric?
I think if the movie was a little bit more self-aware, I think I'd give it a 6 out of 10. The writing was just... The acting was fine. I didn't really have a problem with the acting.
Yeah, I thought the acting was pretty good.
The quality of the movie was good. A lot of things were good. A lot of things didn't stand out to me visually as cheesy. Uh-huh. The writing was just not...
I think the writing...
Especially at the end.
Yeah,
I was just,
yes, it was very ham-fisted.
The guy behind me, I could hear him put his hands in the air. And I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, I think the writing was ham-handed, especially at the end, and I think the directing, it was very clear. I mean, we have some seasoned pros in this movie. We got Carrie Ewells in this movie, who you might remember him from a little movie called The Princess Bride, and it's very clear to me that the direction he was given was like, be an unbridled dick. Like, just be the dick, you know? And it's not like the movie doesn't need him to be a dick. It's just...
And that's kind of what most of the men are in the movie.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. There's a single man who's not a total dickhole.
Yeah, there's
two men,
1.5 men that are not dickholes. There's the romantic interest in the Cosby sweater, and there's
I'm so happy somebody else saw that. I have a comment on that.
Yeah, and then there's the boyfriend of one of the other girls that tries to help and fails miserably.
Yeah, so I think the direction was a little goofy, but like you said, I mean, for the most. So what do you give it, Eric? What are you saying?
I'd give it a 5.
You give it a 5. You know, I'm not a big slasher fan, and this technically is a slasher. It ought to be. It's a remake of what many argue is the first slasher ever made, so it's a slasher. But it held my interest pretty much the whole way through. I was never terribly upset at this movie, and it was enjoyable enough. It was not a great movie by any means. I'd say I'd give it a high 6. I enjoyed this movie almost as much as I enjoyed Hellfest last year. So if you hated Hellfest, this is a damning statement.
Yeah, I think Hellfest is a fair comparison, but I think it's better than Hellfest.
You think this is better than Hellfest?
Yeah.
You really did dislike Hellfest. I liked Hellfest a little bit better than this.
Could you describe what 5 is on your scale? Because you said it earlier in the show. And
5 is just like completely average. It hits all the expected marks. Like it's exactly what you're
saying. Movie.
If I got scared genuinely because I jump pretty easily, I think I would give it maybe a 6 or 7 and be like, oh, maybe I just don't understand the genre.
There were some good jump scares in this. I thought.
For me, I was just like sitting back, like, okay,
really
interesting.
I loved it. I thought they were some good ones. I thought there were 2 or 3 real solid ones.
I think maybe if the music was better, because the audio stuff really gets me too. Like I could close my eyes, and if the music or the score is good, and it gets you to jump.
Yeah, the music was really spare.
It was just kind of bland,
and
the auditory stuff just didn't get to me this time around.
Yeah. By the way, listeners, if you want to hear a review of the original Black Christmas from 1974, head on over to last year about this time in our podcast releases, and we reviewed it. We liked it a lot less than we like this one. So if that's any consolation to people who are hanging their hats on this being the best movie of the year for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of love for Black Christmas that I just don't understand.
Bob Clarke is a stellar director who did some amazing stuff, but the Black Christmas is not one of those amazing things.
Yeah. Black Christmas is the second best Christmas movie that he's made.
Out of two.
And
the other one is the best Christmas movie ever made in probably all of time.
Right. So before we jump into spoilers and a deeper discussion, here are a few words from ourselves. If you like the show, you can get exclusive access to early access and bonus content when you become a patron on Patreon. Click through the button at the top of horrormovietalk.com to see the different membership tiers and their associated perks. You can also support the podcast by buying your Christmas gifts on Amazon if you click through the other green button in the header of our website marked Spend on Amazon. Check out our resident artist, Dustin Goebel, a professional artist who fucks hard or softly.
Yeah,
whichever suits your personal needs.
Right, Dustin fucks appropriate to the situation.
Yeah.
He reads the room and then fucks accordingly.
Yes. We had a conversation with Dustin on Facebook about his feelings on his description.
He was verbose in his response.
Yeah, he was.
Don't get him started on how he fucks.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying to say.
He was for it.
Sometimes you don't have to fuck her hard.
Yeah, but he gave some perspective from his wife, but he also made sure that we know that he does drive a Dodge Challenger and wear a leather jacket. So, I mean, that's pretty fucking hard.
Yeah, he was quoted as saying,
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
Yeah.
So anyways, he also takes commissions for artwork from HMT fans. Contact him at DGOEBEL on Instagram, and you can make your artistic dreams come true. Tell him HMT sent you.
Yeah, you can check him out on his website, too. I believe it's just dustingoebel.com.
Yeah.
So check him out. He does great artwork. We love him.
And again, check out Eric's band, My Brothers and I.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Awesome. And then let's talk about spoilers for realsies this time. Spoilers.
You really got to get it together.
All right. Spoilers.
I was really disappointed in this movie because never once did anyone say,
Merry Christmas, Patrick.
Not once.
So, director Sophia Takal? Sure.
Yeah.
Worked extensively to make this vision of Black Christmas as feminist as she could, stating in an interview, I wanted to make a movie where instead of feeling objectified or watched from a distance, the audience felt seen. So
let that soak in for a minute.
I don't know how successful she was in that.
I mean, I guess okay, look, I need to pull back my skeptical glasses and look at what she's actually trying to say there. I think what she's trying to say is, I want young women to come see my film, and I want them, and I want their struggle to feel heard in watching my movie.
Right. Yeah.
That must be what she means by that, because I can misinterpret that a bunch of different ways that probably aren't fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does feel from, like, the female perspective, and definitely since it was written and heavily features women, there's some stuff that, like, feels like from their world that I haven't seen in other movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not. It'd be interesting if it was a little more subtle or a little more nuanced.
Yeah,
and it wasn't just like
this. And this is kind of what I was saying, I think, in our American Psycho episode about this film. We were having a discussion. Our guest Mark was here, and we were having a discussion about blatantly feminist movies. And one of the ones that came up is the most recent Ghostbusters, and I feel like there's just not enough respect being paid to female audiences. Like, we have to be so obvious and overt about our themes. It's like, that's not what a theme is. A theme is an undertow. It's a current. You don't have to smash people over the face to have them understand or retrieve something worthwhile from your message. And that's what this kind of did. It treats the audience with disrespect. In my opinion, there's a bit of that where it's like, hey, women, just in case you didn't know, men fucking suck, and most of them are rapists. And it's like, okay, like, I understand where you're going with this, but maybe
and I don't necessarily disagree.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree. I'm just saying maybe you could be a little bit more subtle in the art about it, because your audience is intelligent. These women are smart enough to get it if there is some nuance, and it doesn't have to be like the way it is. But I mean, the first Black Christmas movie was technically a feminist movie, pretty heavily, and
and it was a little more subtly feminist,
and I did not like it as much as this one. I enjoyed this more than average, so I don't know.
Yeah, this one is feminist on many levels. Like it's feminist on the surface level and straight ahead, just stating this is feminism, and these are the the statements that we believe in, but also like the allegory and like all the levels underneath, and make it very clear that like everything is pointing to the patriarchy is damaging to women. And
this is a female movie made by females for females, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But one of the things that one of the points I was going to make is that I actually prefer it that it does it straight ahead than just kind of tacking it on.
Yeah.
And like, or making allusions to, socially conscious concepts, or having one character that's the outspoken, like.
Yeah, exactly. If nothing else, it's extremely honest and earnest about, like, this is what we're fucking doing. Guess what? And it's like, hey, there's plenty of movies like that, I respect. And this one, I wouldn't say I disrespect it. It's just, I think I might not do it that way. But I don't make any movies. I just sit here and review them. So it's like,
Yeah, I would prefer that they make a strong perspective, that they take a strong stand with it, as opposed to just kind of like trying to make a regular movie and wedging it in awkwardly, as long as it doesn't alienate general audiences, or as long as the people that might be alienated by it can kind of get a wink that, like, but we still know what you think.
Yeah. What did you think about the subtlety of this, Eric?
I think the reason I gave it a low score as a scary movie is I think halfway...
Well, let's be clear. 5 is totally average.
Lower
we
than,
say that
lower than
every
6.
episode.
So the reason that I gave it a lower than a 6, which is what you guys gave it, a high 6, I believe, David, for the record, is I think halfway through I realized that it was a battle of the sexes movie. It was not a horror movie necessarily. And then I looked around and I realized that half the people in the audience were men. There weren't ever a group of women going to this movie alone. It was, usually middle school or high school kids going on dates. And
in Bryce's case, he was the only one in the
audience. I was really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, I saw it like the first showing
11.
Like it was like 2:45 or something
in the afternoon.
Because I have like a flexible schedule, so I can kind of like wedge it in.
We understand.
And I was the only one in the theater, which is it's not surprising.
No, it's not surprising. But it was 100% male dominated audience.
Yes, it was 100% male.
To say.
Oh, interesting.
In that showing.
Did anybody try to interview you guys after the showings?
Anybody try to interview us?
Yeah, there was a guy that came up and like gave me a tablet. And he's like, "Would you want to review this movie?" They're looking for feedback.
Oh, wow.
And it had things like, what's your religious affiliation and what's your skin color? And I just put like Asian Muslim.
You're like, you like
ambidextrous.
Fucking white, fucking right.
But it was weird. And I'd never done that before. And I didn't know if that's because of the recent feedback online about the movie, or I don't know what Blumhouse
I've never been
approached.
I've never been approached by anyone following a movie.
It was weird, but
I've seen it before where they're trying to get like video clips for the news of reactions to it, but I wouldn't expect that would have been. I bet it was just plain market research.
Interesting.
Or like either that or marketing messaging, saying like what does this group of people think about it?
Well, circling back to what you asked me, which is what I thought about the movie in general, is it was fine.
Yeah.
There was nothing crazy about it. Moments I laughed again just because of the writing. And there was nothing wrong with the actors or actresses. The choice of a Cosby sweater I thought was probably the worst decision in the whole movie. And we can get to that later.
I can't say that I recognize this. Can we move on to the Cosby sweater? What is
So yeah, the black male
the good guy
romantic interest that was the blatant good guy. He was. Do you understand what a Cosby sweater is?
Do I own a Cosby sweater?
No. Do you understand what it is? What we're referring to?
I mean, does my one sweater, is it Cosby-esque? Okay, it's a
dude sweater.
Okay, wait.
No.
So it's a pullover. It's a pullover sweatshirt / sweater.
No, it is a sweater. It's like a knitted sweater, and it's just kind of ugly and all over the place. It's what Bill Cosby would have worn on the Cosby Show.
Okay, I'm there.
And he was definitely wearing that sweater. So I thought that was like,
so the movie.
This is a signal.
I think
they're trying to warn us.
So this is what I thought was a bad decision. The movie about anti-rape culture and drugging women at parties.
Yeah.
The good guy in this movie that's against those things, they decide to put him in a sweater of an individual who has been arrested for those same exact things.
No.
Well, allegedly.
And I was like, that's probably not the best costume choice.
Look, but also though, I feel like trends. Actually, I should ask you, because to be fair, Eric is by far the person in this room who pays attention to trends and fashion more than Bryce or I.
That's such a low bar, though. It's just not.
Well, we don't meet it.
We don't meet that bar. So, but the point I'm trying to make is that are Cosby sweaters a thing now?
No.
That's not a popular?
I don't know if they
look.
could be. I think that they would, especially with just in general. There was this is more obvious, but the Walmart sweater with Santa snorting cocaine. I'm sure you guys heard about that. So they had to take that down. I think if people got wind of a Cosby sweater coming back, I think people would cancel it because of all the stuff going on. So I don't think Cosby sweaters are in.
I have in my wildly inappropriate shirt drawer. I have a shirt with cartoon Cosby on it, and it says "Oh, with the Jell-O pudding" on it.
Well, okay. So this is why I gave it a 5. If a character in the movie made some tongue-in-cheek comment about his sweater because the movie was self-aware about the message it's trying to put out, that would be different. But they didn't even mention it. No, none of the girls on the street were like, that's an interesting sweater choice. Like, they weren't even aware of the world around them. It was super interesting.
Well, I mean, that's true to life, though. Maybe them not commenting on it is the movie's way of nodding to the fact that Gen Z is basically unaware of who Cosby is and what he did because I mean, that was way back in the 80s. They can't be expecting to know who that guy is. The women he raped were boomers, is what I'm trying. Okay, boomers, you know.
Oh my
God. Is it still
allegedly raped?
Allegedly, or did he get convicted?
Allegedly.
I think he actually got convicted now.
I'm not playing any games. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. I'm definitely against it.
Cosby Watch 2020.
All right. So, first of all, let's talk about what did they keep from the original? Because it's not much. Like, I'm hard-pressed to find exactly...
It was out of college.
What they share.
It was out of college.
During Christmas break.
They were sorority. Mm-hmm. And...
there are some...
There's a cop.
People that get killed. Oh, yeah, the cop. The cop. Moment that doesn't... The cop that doesn't believe him.
Yeah. The attic...
I mean, but it's just that the attic exists, though.
Yeah,
the attic was a huge part in the first one.
Yes, it was where the killer lived in the spoilers. Yeah. 1974 spoilers. The killer lived in the sorority girl's attic, and he would call them on the phone and breathe and go, and freak them out.
Yeah, a lot of what was like definitive of that first movie.
He killed the girl in the attic and left her in that chair all tied up the same way. Like, that was a clear like throwback.
Was she tied up in the chair in the attic? I didn't see that.
She was dead. She was dead.
With the Christmas lights.
Yeah, with the Christmas lights. She went up to check on all the Christmas lights, and she's like,
did
these expire? Oh, your memory's so bad, Bryce. How do you not remember this?
Yeah, I must have just totally... Because I know that iconic image from the first one. It's on like the poster.
Yeah, it's the poster.
And
it's the most disturbing poster ever.
I don't remember a girl wrapped in plastic.
She wasn't wrapped in plastic, but it was the same pose. She was tied up in Christmas lights.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
You could trust me.
All right. Yeah, and that's kind of where the similarities end. A lot of the iconic stuff from the first movie are not in this movie. No. Like the director said, she wanted to take it... She wanted to make a movie where instead of feeling objectified and watched at a distance, like that was the point of the first movie, was that it was the first one to kind of show the first person perspective of the killer stalking the women and watching them the whole time. And that wasn't here at all. There's no like first person perspective, kind of Halloween-esque kills in it.
No.
And the fact that it wasn't just a crazy man, that there's this giant conspiracy with a group of men instead of one sole crazy killer.
Yeah, that was kind of... It was... So maybe we should set up. Maybe we should set up the. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah,
so the other, I think the last thing is a big part of the original was the menacing phone calls.
Yeah, that was not that. Oh no, there was menacing text.
It was modernized.
Yeah,
which, to be honest, is so much less menacing.
So much less menacing. It's because it could be read so many times. You could misinterpret these texts.
He should have just sent GIFs, like really scary GIFs. Or memes or something.
If he's anything like me, it's just a bunch of Simpsons and American Psycho gifs.
Yeah. So, I mean, just that the menace of a phone call back in the 70s was probably much larger because they had to know your phone number. And it was much more personal because it was live. And they're forcing you to listen to them heavily breathe into the phone.
Yeah.
And the menacing texts are like, well, they made it a point that it's like a social media app.
Are you DMing me?
And so somehow, you can send text to anyone on this social media platform.
Yeah.
And it's not live. And like girls probably get worse texts than these like all the time. I mean, all these texts are probably less offensive than just getting a dick pic, which probably happens all the time.
Now I'm starting to realize why this movie needed to be made. the things you just got done saying.
Yeah.
Girls probably get way worse text than this all the time.
Right. Yeah.
That's fucked up.
So the first death, there's kind of like the one girl that's left over she's the last girl to leave for Christmas holiday.
To be clear, the first death is the girl walking home at night.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one you're doing. They're so similar.
Well, yeah, she's leaving campus to go visit her family, and as she's walking away, she starts getting followed, and I immediately identified the guy following her as a red herring. I was like, well, it's not going to be that guy.
Yeah.
Not at all, because it was so too obvious. Yeah, she was receiving text messages, and the guy walking behind her was on his phone.
But it was appropriate.
Like
he was appropriately creepy.
Yeah,
I mean, he's regardless of whether or not he was going to be the one to kill her. I feel like he had something to, he had a bone to pick with her a little bit. Like
right.
If the other guy if the alpha hadn't jumped in,
right,
he'd have been all over her.
Yeah, so that was a red herring, and then just randomly popping up as a hooded figure behind her.
Yeah.
In a black robe.
Yeah, think Scream. Think the black robe from Scream.
Yeah, or like Eyes Wide Shut with the mask.
Oh, yeah, that too.
So this hooded figure appears behind her and starts chasing her. And I guess did he have a knife? Was he just chasing after her?
No, because when she opens the door, he breaks a icicle.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, he was just running around with her,
which is the perfect murder weapon because it'll just melt.
Yeah. So he starts chasing her, and she's like frantic, horror movie chick tripping over everything.
Yeah,
and then the moment where it turns the corner for me of like, okay, well, this is just dumb fun. Like I can kind of get into this.
Yeah.
Is she goes up to a door and frantically is knocking on it and looking behind her. She's like, someone help me.
And it's the most decorated house on the block. Yeah. Like it's beautiful.
And then the huge mechanical teddy bear too. That was nice.
Yeah.
And then the door opens, and inside the door is the same hooded figure.
No. Yeah, that was a blast. And then he breaks the icicle off and stabs her through the heart, and then and she makes a snow angel as she's and her hair. I just wanted to.
I'm pretty sure that's taken from the original too. I think there was like a snow angel type. I think the first death was kind of a snow angel type death.
The thing is, it was a snow angel at first, and then he would drag the body out of the scene.
Yeah.
And then it created like
a fallen angel.
It created like a ball and penis type look in the snow, which I had a problem with. It made me uncomfortable.
Her hair looked nice. I wanted to smell it. I just wanted to get that in
Jesus,
there.
David.
You don't want to smell girls' hair?
It's men like you that get this movie.
Oh,
made.
I'm sorry that I find them. I find them so nice and good smelling that I just want to smell them.
That's where it starts.
I mean.
I'm so uncomfortable right now.
Just because I smell your hair, the one time, now you're always on. Now you're always on about it.
What's it smell like?
Well, mostly sadness.
Damn, he has smelled my hair. Okay, so it goes back to the sorority house, and the girls obviously don't know about this one murder because they're expecting her, to be traveling home, so they don't expect her to come back. And we're introduced to the main four and the other sorority sisters. It's a how would you describe the dynamic?
Yeah, so there's the wildly feminist girl who is always has a cause.
Uh-huh.
There's the ditzy dumb girl.
I mean, it seems like they're all on board, though.
Oh, yeah, they're all on board.
She's not the character that's like the crazy, over-the-top person that everyone's like rolling their eyes at. They're all pretty much on board.
They're all people.
She is the more
and that's the other thing is
one.
They're all believable characters. They're all believable people.
Right.
Like if you take a look at Thanksgiving, these are not characters. These are just stereotypes,
right?
That walk and talk.
Yeah.
But if we're looking at this Black Christmas, they're all believable characters who have seemingly real life motivations, but they do have archetypes that they fit. So there's the wildly feminist girl who always has a cause. There's kind of the ditzy dumb girl who is intelligent in her own way, but not listening. Like listening is not her strong suit.
Yeah.
Then there's the main
character, Sophie is kind of more reserved, and we find out that a big part of that is that she's still recovering from a sexual assault and kind of retreating socially because of it. And then as the movie progresses, she gets more, empowered and more active in. And then there's
the girl with the boyfriend.
Yeah.
Her thing is she has a boyfriend.
Right.
Yeah, and he's kind of a tertiary main character.
And I can't remember. I feel like in the Santa suits, like she was pregnant. Was she pregnant?
Whom?
I thought I spied one of them was pregnant, and it was the one that had the boyfriend. But I might have just not. I might have just imagined that.
I don't think they alluded to that anywhere else, so it might have just been...
Okay.
Yeah, I don't recall that, so maybe not.
All right. Maybe she was just really bloated that day.
God.
Speaking of bloating, it sets the tone pretty early on with the sorority sisters when one of them comes into Sophie's room in a panic.
Yeah.
I lost my Diva cup. Again, not super subtle. And then she borrows a pad and proceeds to
now wait we
put it on while maintaining eye contact the whole time, which is such a strong move.
You should come to our house. You should see how things go down. Like I take shits with the door open and authority. I maintain eye contact with everybody who walks by. Wiping, not like pushing, it's all there.
Do you wipe and then show it to people as they pass by? Just keeping you apprised.
No, I'm not that vile. Where was I? What was I gonna? Oh, yeah. So yeah, Diva Cup. We do have a lot of our listeners are not females. We do
about
have
2/3 of them are not females.
Right. So a Diva Cup, for those of you who don't know, here we go. This isn't. I mean, it's not called horror. It's called Horror Movie Talk. So here we go.
I mean, we should be comfortable with blood.
We got to be talking about the movie. So a Diva Cup is imagine. Okay, so
This is so amusing.
An
to hear how uncomfortable you are talking about this.
An ecologically friendly answer to tampons or pads, right? So instead, it's like this reusable, flexible cup that you that you cram up into your vag, and then it holds back the floodgates, and then when you have a chance, you go to somewhere and the bathroom, and you pull it out, and then the floodgates open. I assume this is all speculation on my part.
This is great.
Speculum.
If you're one of our female fans, can you just reach out to us on social media and explain in detail for David how a Diva Cup works?
I just did it. I explained it. You didn't explain it.
Well, let's.
I explained it to you.
Okay, let's have the female listeners.
All everybody here knows, you didn't know, and I just told you how it worked.
I would like the female fans to let us know if that's an accurate description.
Yeah.
Of a Diva Cup. Anyways, so she gets a pad and maintains eye contact while she's putting it on.
It's hot.
Jesus.
I was all about it.
One of the things I wanted to talk about, so we talked about how the texts were the menacing communication element. Have we talked about cell phones in horror movies and how problematic it is?
We've mentioned
for the genre.
Yeah, we've mentioned it once or twice.
So it's like knowing that they exist, and especially when you see a character use one, it removes almost all of the danger.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because it's like, well, you got 911 in your hand.
Yeah.
Until they drop their phone.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
So now they have to do one of two things.
Really tapping into that latest gen of like people who I can't be without my phone. That is the truest horror.
Yeah.
It's dropping their phone. And the whole audience recoils and they're like, oh, she dropped her phone.
Does she not have a case on that thing?
I hope it's not broken.
So yeah, it seems like horror movies nowadays do one of two things with cell phones. They use them as like a supernatural device to where the phone can like tell you when you're going to die, or it can like text you when the network isn't on,
spooky phone,
or it turns on itself.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. Yeah. That's one avenue.
That's the dumbest avenue, by the way.
And then the other is the characters just conveniently lose them at the most inconvenient time.
Right.
So in this film, where they're most directly being attacked altogether by the killer, like they run out of a room and there's just like a trail, like a Hansel and Gretel trail of cell phones left behind them.
It's like all three of them had their phones out, were looking at their phones, and then bumped each other in the head. Like they all walked into each other's head at the same time, and all three phones hit the floor, and they were like, oh no! And then they couldn't bend down to pick them up. Like they had to keep running. Yeah, I'd say cell phones is the most bothersome new trope in horror movies, for sure. Cell phones and laptops.
It would be so easy to address it too, because there are cell phone jammers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Have the killer have a cell phone jammer. Problem solved.
I can just imagine the discussion that takes place in the production studio, or the executives like, we need to appeal to the younger audience. What are they like? Well, my kid won't get off her fucking phone for 2 seconds. That's good. Phones. We're doing it. It's like, okay. All right.
So one of them wireless phones.
Yeah.
Inside your house.
Smart.
You can carry anywhere in the house?
No, a smartphone. Come on, Vin. You got to get with the times.
Okay. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff we can talk about, but we don't have to hit all of it. I think... Okay, let's talk about the PG-13 element. That's like another main thing.
Yeah.
So what did it distract you guys at all? The edits in this movie?
A little bit. These things don't bother me nearly like they bother you. What about you, Eric? Did you notice PG-13 edits in this movie? Were you bothered by them?
Not as an average consumer of these types of movies, probably not. There's a scene where she's in the attic tied up I'm flashing forward a little bit.
Yeah.
She's wrapped up in the lights, and she turns around and you can see that something's kind of maybe stuck in her eye, but then they cut away really quickly.
Yeah.
Those types of things I find more artsy than annoying. Like, oh, I wish I could see it frickin' plunged into her eyeball. Why didn't they show me that?
Yeah.
But the other edits I may not have noticed, so maybe they were more artful about it.
It could have been a pretty badass R movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have. I think it would have been a much better movie if they had just committed to the R.
Well, maybe you guys need to educate me, and maybe your audience, maybe. So, like the blood, for instance, if the blood was actually red, would that have? If it was actually blood, would that have made it maybe more of an
probably?
R?
It probably would have contributed, but I don't think blood is like. Well, yeah, I mean, in PG-13 movies are usually bloodless. Think about like Marvel movies. How much blood do you see in those movies?
Okay.
Like, but you get away with like a drip on the side of the mouth,
right?
Like that's it.
So that's one, but that's not even the most noticeable for me. For me, it's probably the same scene. So they have the scene where the girl discovers the dead girl and she starts turning her around. You know, she's sitting in the office chair.
Up in the attic, the killer had killed her with a shard of glass or a mirror.
Yeah, and so like maybe that just happened so quick that I didn't even remember it. But I remember the moment that she's turning around the girl and all we see is the reaction.
Yeah, it cuts right before you get to see really anything. Like there's an illusion of an injury.
Yeah.
But not much.
So in some circumstance, this works great. Like Quentin Tarantino's really good at not showing a lot, but making you like imagine it.
What's in the suitcase?
This was not that case. This was very obviously the original shot showed like a horrific mutilated face. And it cut that out and only showed the reaction.
Yeah.
So that was like, it was so jarring that pulled me out. The other one was this moment that was really confusing when they're being attacked. One of the girls picks up an axe and she attacks the guy, and the guy turns around, and I can't tell whether she was stabbed or punched really hard because it doesn't show it.
That reminded me of like a Jackie Chan combat scene or something.
Yeah.
Like people have weapons, but they aren't sharp or anything.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it reminded me of.
So I couldn't, like, just the fact that they couldn't show like a knife being stabbed into someone because it would have affected the rating.
Yeah.
That it actually made it confusing because I'm like, how injured is she? What actually happened?
Yeah.
There's blood coming out of her mouth. Where did that come from?
Right.
Yeah.
And then, and the other one was like the girl that shot in the calf with an arrow, but it looks like it just barely scratches her skin, but she's hobbled by it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, probably originally it showed like a stream of blood coming out or something that communicated that this was a serious injury, but they had to cut that out. And so now it's just like, well, she's hobbled because she's hobbled.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I'm more confused than I thought I was. Because during that scene, I thought I had just missed something or looked down at the wrong time.
Right. And then the last one, the most obvious one, was at the very end, where it's like the ultimate badass moment that's cut short because the girl with the arrow, she stands up and she's like, "Suck my," and then just an explosion.
Suck my.
Yeah, it's like, okay. So that would have been a cool moment if she actually got to say. So what is your assumption of what that line actually was before they edited it?
Dick.
Oh man.
Dick?
Wow.
Yeah, that's a strong.
Did you watch the movie, David?
I mean, I personally, if it was me, the writer, I would say suck my cunt.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Woo. Dang. Yeah, well, I mean,
that
would be much more powerful than Dick.
That would have been earned an R.
I've been like, damn. She really means it too. So I think it's important to kind of so we should get into the setup for the beef between the sorority and the fraternity, which is this song that they sing.
Right. See,
this is still at the start and kind of like within the first 20 minutes of the movie.
So yeah, rewinding to the beginning of the movie, kind of the backstory of Sophie is that she is a rape survivor, and the guy that raped her is still on campus. No one believed her, and he's a member of this one frat that they're going to a party to, which is like a talent contest.
Right.
So as a part of the talent contest, Sophie and her... Well, actually, there's 4 girls that were supposed to perform this song, and one of them drops out, and Sophie at the last minute is pulled in.
Yeah, because she was the talent coach for this song.
And then they perform this song, which was kind of confusing to me because okay, first of all, this is the worst a cappella arrangement I've ever seen on film. It was so what
do you mean?
So little effort was put into trying to make this okay, if you were at this talent contest, maybe Eric can
set it up, because there's a bunch of hot girls in cute outfits standing on a stage singing like a Christmas like a sexy Christmas song, it's like Unwrap Me.
That's how it starts.
Yeah, it's almost exactly like the outfits on Mean Girls when they do the Christmas bit, except they stand up. So this is a personal beef with me. So they stand up and start singing, no backing track, and they're singing unison, doot 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 doot, just singing
Okay, I see where you're going.
a weird thing. And then they
see. Here's the problem. Let me tell the audience what the problem is here. We have a professional musician who's our guest for today, and then we have a man who still to this day sings in choir, and not only that, who has a bachelor's in what? What's your bachelor?
Vocal performance.
Vocal performance. So this is the problem, is you have people who are way, way too specialized in this specific scene to be happy with it.
Well, anyways, it was distracting from me. And then they pull in Sophie, and she starts singing, and it starts out with this sexy, song.
I was all right with all
straight
of
out of Mean Girls, and then it transitions.
I didn't hear a word they said. You know what I'm saying?
S-E-X, dink. That type of stuff.
Yeah, and then it transitions to Sophie starting to sing, and this whole time that they're all doing the sexy stuff, she's kind of shrinking in the background, she doesn't want to be a part of it because it feels awkward performing in front of her rapist, which granted,
because he comes back to campus that day randomly.
Yeah. But then she starts singing, and the song transitions to accusatory or calling him out for raping her, and I was confused
because all the girls knew the words to this new song that they had just transitioned into.
Because well, the way she delivered it, it felt like it was improvised. No, I'm gonna take this moment and twist it.
Well, it had to be improvised because she was just brand new to the.
No, but I don't think it was though. I think that was actually the point of the thing, because then the girls that are singing with her sing the same lyrics.
This is what I'm saying.
Well, and later on they allude to the song I created. They're fighting in the kitchen, and the one with the warrior archetype figure, the girl with the cause. She says, "I wrote that song," and I think to me that alluded to the fact that the main character, who's more passive, it was a plan to start the song out as cutesy, the guys would love it, and then throughout the concert it would transition it. But it did feel improvised, and I don't know if it was the directing or what.
Yeah, I mean, the directing was weird.
It was confusing
with it, so it was confusing
up until this to this moment. Now I'm still a little now I'm even more confused.
So this is kind of supposedly this is the impetus for the frat getting angry at him, but we've already seen that they've been attacked before that.
So, but this performance was taped and then placed on YouTube, and it was directed at this fraternity. So now the fraternity, and then the video goes viral. So now the fraternity is taking national heat. And
on top of that, these same girls were in charge of getting the statue that was being displayed at the college taken down because of this person, whoever it was.
The man who's named, who the college is named after, the founder of the college, his
founder
bust.
Of the frat.
Yes, his bust has been removed because of these girls doing work to prove that he was a mean old man who touched people.
Yeah. So I think if it was more clear, the concert would have been more like the final straw, but it was a little confusing.
Yeah,
I mean, they're already killing people before that, so it's not.
Yeah,
I mean, the synopsis of it says like, oh yeah, or when you listen to the interviews, the people are like, oh yeah, they did this performance and it set them off, and it's like, no, they're already killing.
If you don't shut your fucking mouth, I will kill you.
So, anyways, during that that scene where they're in the frat, Sophie is looking around and stumbles across this weird ritual, hazing thing, and
like a secret room where a dude's getting like stuff placed on his face, like goop,
this black goo.
Yeah, black goo.
And you think later, like, oh well, they're gonna explain what that black goo is, because it shows like this bust of, I think it's Nathaniel Hawthorne or something like that.
Calvin
Coolidge. Yeah, and his eyes.
What?
I don't think so.
His eyes are like crying this black liquid. The bust is like this marble bust is crying this black liquid, and they rub it on the initiate's head and are saying all about.
I can't believe you, Bryce.
This stuff, and you assume like, well, they're going to explain what that black stuff is, and they never really do.
It's black. It's goop. It's evil. Look
Black
at his
Christmas.
Yeah. Look, he's got shifty eyes. The bust has shifty eyes.
So it's very, and it kind of takes the legs away from this movie that they reveal obviously that it's this frat, because it shows all the frat boys in those black robes that the killer was in the first scene, like one of the first scenes in the movie. So it's like, well, the audience now knows that it's this frat, and it's not just one guy.
I can't get behind you, Bryce.
I can't believe that Bryce prefers Van Patten's card to mine.
No, so I think that it actually did a good job, because it did a doozy on me. It just made me go, okay, so clearly one of these guys, like now it's a whodunit. Like one of these guys in this frat is going after these girls. He's
because like I thought that was the least surprising twist in recent memory, was that they killed
multiple bad guys.
They killed the guy in the robe, and then there was another guy in a robe.
Well, I mean, as soon as they killed him, yes, it became very apparent that there was more, but up until that point, I was like, oh, well, there's just, this is going to be a whodunit. He's going to chase him around. We're going to have to, and then it's going to be a Scooby-Doo moment at the end of the movie where we unmask him. And of course it was those, but if it weren't for those damn kids and their dog.
Yeah. What was the other? Okay.
What did you think of the black goop and the Calvin Coolidge bust?
I thought that Hot Fuzz did a better job of whodunit than this movie.
Oh wow, Hot Fuzz. Well, I mean,
they're
comparing
robed,
it to the best.
Their robed figure whodunit, I think, was approached a lot. That's not a scary movie. That's not a horror movie necessarily.
It's on par with this.
It's intense though.
Yeah,
and I was a little disappointed that they didn't just make somebody's eyes come out of one of the paintings in the hallway. Because that would have been great.
That would have been great. Why have we not seen any eyes in any paintings for like 35 years?
I know.
You said Scooby-Doo and it just came to me, David.
Oh, man.
So let's just like talk about the third act and get this over with. So the women start getting attacked, and they kind of fight back. Oh yeah, one's tangent. Why do movies insist on using a bow as a bludgeoning device? Like that is somehow going to be effective?
As soon as
it's specifically designed to give, because it bows.
Yeah.
And they're like, they take a bow and they whack someone on the head like. It's like, no, it'd go boing. That's what it would do. That's what it's designed to do.
You can laugh into the mic. You're allowed to use the mic to laugh.
Eric is dying.
It's a good monologue, and I don't want to ruin it.
You're treating these mics as though they're precious, sacred objects, and they're not.
I just don't want to ruin the take.
I burp into the mic.
No, it's
so
they bow. They go boing.
They bow. They don't go whack.
It's
they
so
go
obvious.
boing.
It's in the name.
Yes. So that was something I wrote in my notes because the first killer, like the guy who we think it is for 15, 20 minutes, something like that, his weapon of choice is a bow and arrow in a house. And I was like, this is a questionable slasher weapon, but okay.
But also, it's like a super powered bow, but it's just a wooden bow.
Yeah, it's not even a compound
it's
bow.
not a
It's
compound
like a
thing.
recurve bow.
Yeah.
So what the fuck is that about? And that thing was slamming those arrows into those doors. Like I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, it acts like this recurve bow would be able to shoot an arrow through a glass, like a auto glass.
Guys, you forgot that the statue gave these boys a crazy amount of strength and power.
So did it also
that?
give the crazy amount of strength and power to a wooden bow?
Maybe it's magical. We don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, you're kind of acting a little bit like the patriarchy right now, bro.
And I'd also like to point out it happened with a literal dog whistle. I don't know if anybody caught that.
What?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What
It was
do you
the
mean?
boys. The boys would be like, "Oh, there's a sound in my head. My head hurts."
yes.
Oh yeah.
I forgot
And I'm
all
like,
about that.
okay, so you're literally talking about a literal whistle in a guy's head that makes him act.
You mean a dog whistle like this?
Please don't. To all the dog listeners out there, we apologize.
Dog whistle on my keychain because my neighbors are dicks.
But the boyfriend got I can't talk. Oh my
It's
god.
okay. We can't talk either.
So the boyfriend got thrown out at this point, though, right? When they're
Well, he
getting
got
attacked.
murdered. Like he.
No,
That's right.
So
Because he brings up an opposite point from the fighting woman.
yeah,
the
so
cause.
she got
right.
in an argument with him, and he was like, "I'm out of here." She kicks him out. She throws him out of the house, and then he comes back to be like, "I wanted to say I'm sorry." At the best/worst moment, he's like, "Hey, I just wanted to say I'm sorry." And they're being chased by the killer, and her main character Sophie is like, "Hey, can you shut the fuck up?" And he's like, "I just really wanted to say I'm sorry," and just acting like a real man. And, just flailing all over the place. And then the killer comes in and he's like, "Listen here, young ruffian. I'll have you know that I'm trained in the art of jujitsu and Aikido."
Well, he's like, well, prepare to feel the might of man. And he goes to attack, and he gets immediately shot in the face with an arrow.
Yeah, you get arrowed out.
So they kill one. Okay, so this also has the scene of the most, like, logically inconsistent framing of a shot in the world. They're being chased by the killer, and so it's Chris, I think, is the black girl, is being chased, and it's in the trailer.
Why she got to be a girl?
Person. She's crawling on the kitchen, and it's in the trailer, and it pans back, and the hooded figure is on the counter above her.
Yeah.
And then he attacks her, and then it shows that Sophie...
It's like, bitch, why didn't you tell her?
Sophie was right behind her.
So
witnessing the whole thing.
Yeah,
so it's like,
able to see it.
So if you were to, like... It's hard to explain, but Sophie definitely would have seen a 6-foot hooded figure standing in the middle of the kitchen.
Standing on the kitchen island.
And not so much as a, hey...
He's right above you.
Hey, don't do that. He's right there.
In the commercials, after they fight back against this hooded figure, I don't know if anybody watched the commercials. In the commercials, they fight against this hooded figure on the countertop for some reason, and they attack him and kill him, and then they pull open the mask. In the commercial, it's a bust. It's not a real person.
Oh, yeah.
So in the
They do show
commercial, it's like a ceramic face under the mask. And you're like, whoa, that is weird. It's like a trippy thriller. And then in the movie, it was the kid with the black mark on his forehead with like red pupils. And I was like, that's not what the commercial said.
The guy that they had seen go through the ritualistic
and then they're
pledge.
like, so they kill him. They kill one of them, and they're like, he doesn't have any blood. He has this black goo.
He has no face.
And they never explain why their blood is replaced by black goo.
Yeah,
ever.
No,
just it's magic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's literally what the movie does. It goes, hey, magic at this point.
Yeah. And so
Calvin Coolidge is haunting all our boys.
They go back to the sorority and their master plan, and I think this is a direct quote from the movie. We need to sneak into where the bust is because that's where the power is coming from.
That's where the power is coming from. Right. Well, I mean, what's the matter? What's the matter with you?
And so they go to the frat house and they find like all of the bros.
Oh, and they are the broiest.
The broiest bro. And
it's
like
Eric's all over the place.
Screw you guys.
Her rapist is there, and
like I said,
he is the gum chewingest bro ever. He's like, hey, remember when I raped you?
I told you guys I'd get her to kneel. Yeah, he was a dick. He was a real mean guy, and I just felt like a lot of the men in this movie were pretty mean.
Got a headache, bro? That's also a direct quote.
I mean, this guy was a real jerk.
Yeah, he sure was. I can't believe you keep using that same drop over and over again.
But it's from different sources. It's not from the same movie. So.
Oh, okay. So there's rules to how.
Yes,
how,
there
okay,
is.
I see.
Say hello to Snowball.
Merry Christmas, Patrick.
Merry Christmas, Patrick.
So they go and all the men are together, and then there's this big exposition. Cary Elwes explains everything. He's like, well, it's the founder, and he died, and he was a master of black arts, and he gave us instructions on how to perform this ritual so that we can take back the world for men and put women in their place. It is that blatant. That is the ending of the movie. Is
right.
It's a conspiracy using mystical black magic for empowering the patriarchy to take back the world, and then they attack. The women attack, and they set fire to everything.
So I almost left during this scene. I almost didn't. If I wasn't doing the podcast, I think I would have left.
It took a hard left into full retard mode.
Well, and
it very at the last 10 minutes of this movie went absolutely bonkers, just bonkers.
Which is like,
there's so many bad quotes in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah,
this is where the guy behind me threw his hands up, I think, and I think the quote was something
where I heard him throw his hands up.
You've messed. I'll throw out a couple. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
You've messed with the wrong sisters. That was one. Your body, your choice. That was like a slant that one of the frat guys threw at the girl when she was trying to make a decision.
Yeah.
And then as she lifts the statue above her head, which she has a lot of upper body strength, I might add.
She goes, busted!
She says, we will never be broken.
Oh, yeah.
Busted.
That would have been good. There's just a lot of quotes in there.
My favorite quote from the third act was Cosby Sweater Bro. He's going to like fight against him, and then he goes, suck a fat fart, you just got zated.
Suck a fat fart. There's a lot of things about this movie that if you're a man, or if you're heavily in the camp of us versus, like, this movie definitely portrays this battle of the sexes as an us versus them thing. And I don't think, I mean, this is just my personal opinion.
Even the good guys are like,
even the good
turned
guys
against their will, and it's not.
Like, there's a lot of, if you don't go into, if you don't have a sense of humor about the quote unquote battle of the sexes, then you're not going to have a good time at this movie.
Well, they didn't have a humor about.
They did not.
I think that's the thing. That's the reason why I didn't like it as much, is if they understood some of the humor behind the Cosby sweater and some of the other lines.
Yeah,
in
it was
movie.
Pretty blatant that men are dumb.
It would have been funny.
Like when they go to the cop, it's just like, fat cop likes mayo. You know, look at him cramming all this mayo onto his sandwich, a fat pig. And it's like, okay, well, that could be a thing against cops, but he is a man, so yeah. I don't know. I just don't think. I mean, if we're to the point where we're talking about the message of the movie, I just don't think it's wise to continue framing feminism as an us versus them sort of thing, because it's you need each other. We're all here on this earth. 50% of us are one, and the other 50 are another. Why does it have to be a battle? Why is one of us always stupid and women are always dumb, or men are always dumb? It's a ridiculous framing, and it does a disservice to the whole thing.
Yeah, and I think there's plenty of movies too where the sexes make fun of each other, whether it's like a father-daughter relationship or a husband-wife relationship, and they do it quite well. The writing's good, the humor's good, we can all laugh at ourselves.
Right.
But the lines that were delivered in the last 10 minutes were just so bad.
They were bad.
That it wasn't even about the message. It was just like, is this the first draft?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this movie, the whole thing is kind of a good example of taking trends that are working very well, and there's been a couple, quote-unquote woke horror movies that are super successful, like Get Out.
Oh, yeah.
Us was another one, to where it is taking social commentary, but kind of like...
And does it intelligently and with a lot of thought and effort being put into the framing of everything.
Yeah, to where it's not just like in your face. It actually is addressing the ambiguity of it a little bit. So it takes kind of that, using a socially conscious theme and trying to build a movie to teach a lesson about it, but it takes all those elements and does it much, much worse than the ones that are successful.
Yeah. I'd like to hearken back to a Simpsons quote.
And now the Estrogen Network presents Afternoon Yak.
Man.
Canceled.
Men. Boo! We did recently review another Christmas movie about feminism, and that was American Psycho. Let's hear their thoughts on women.
If they have a good personality and they're not great looking, then who fucking cares?
Well, let's just say hypothetically, okay? What if they have a good personality? I know. There are no girls with good personality.
Yeah, I mean, so you could be watching American Psycho.
So yeah, we're way, we're 100% behind American Psycho. I think we've made that clear. In a great female empowerment movie is Ready or Not. That's like a badass female protagonist.
And possibly one of the best movies of the year as far as horror movies go. Maybe best movies of the year.
Yeah.
Of 2019. Ready or Not, female empowerment all the way. I'm behind it. It was a great movie.
Wasn't Bird Box a pretty good example of like a mother trying to protect her children?
Yeah, I mean, I felt that Bird Box was a decent...
I'm sold on Bird Box. I loved it. I had a great time.
So anyways, that's
The Perfection. There's another really good... Well, I mean, The Perfection kind of went kind of retarded at the end, too.
Man, yeah, there's a lot of similarities between Black Christmas and The Perfection.
Yeah, they're very similar movies.
They both just went completely off the rails at the ending. Huh. Okay. So would you recommend this movie? What's the final recommendations for Black Christmas?
I personally would recommend you go see it. Like I said, it is for me it's a 6, but I can't say, I was engaged the whole way through. I was interested in what was happening the whole way through. I had decent chuckles at, because I do have a sense of humor about this whole, trashing on men thing. I don't take it, at this point I can't take it personally because it's just silly to me. So it is fun and funny, and it is a good Christmas horror movie with quotations around it.
Right.
So
yeah.
It's no Silent Night, Deadly Night. It's no American Psycho, but I had a good time in the theaters, and there were plenty of couples in the theater that I was in who were having a good time too.
Yeah.
So
what do you think, Eric?
IMDb gave it a 2 or a 3 or something like that.
What?
Yeah, it had like a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, that's just the patriarchy.
It's not that bad. I stick pretty close to my 5, maybe a high 5 after us talking.
Yeah, I mean,
I always enjoy a high 5.
It's a new horror movie. I wouldn't, it's good fun. I would recommend seeing. I wouldn't unrecommend seeing it in the theater. It's fine. If you want to watch something else other than the new Star Wars movie next week, might as well see this.
Who would like this? It's the same thing as what I said on The Prodigy. I think it's young couples who kind of want to be scared and sit close to each other.
Yeah.
They'll really enjoy this movie.
Yeah, who doesn't want to get a hand job to the patriarchy burden?
And really, I do think that young women would actually really like this movie.
Yeah.
I think they heavily marketed it towards young women. There's been several movies that want to get like women ages, 18 to 35 to see some of these movies, and they're just not really resonating with them. But I mean, I genuinely think this would be a good time for young women to watch.
I absolutely agree. And take your teenage daughter to this, and then sit down and talk with her about everything that's wrong about it afterwards,
right?
And throw your patriarchy onto her.
Okay, stay away from Cosby sweaters.
Don't drop your phone, and don't use a plastic snow shovel as a weapon or a bow. It's just find something blunt.
Right.
They make baseball bats.
Right. Don't post things on YouTube.
Here's a gun. Here's how to use it.
Just lock yourself in your room. Basically, that's what the movie's trying to tell people.
So, yeah. It's decent. Okay, let's go into taglines now.
Here's taglines.
Okay, so Taglines is a game where we come up with alternate taglines for the movie we just reviewed.
You're going to need to edit around me a little bit.
Okay.
In this.
I've got a couple. Eric, if you come up with any...
Can you remind me of the game again?
So just come up with taglines for the movie. So, like, if you're to put...
Like in a preview or something?
Yeah, like a preview or on the poster, like what they'd say, like...
Or you can just make jokes about the movie. That's fine, too.
Yeah. Okay. Black Christmas. Actually, they prefer African-American Christmas.
We're going there?
Wow. Right out the box. It's fucking... only a house full of women would name a cat Claudette. And they're like, here, Claudette. I'm like, that's the longest, most hard name to say for a cat. Claudette.
Black Christmas. Sliding a knife into your DMs.
Okay. That is an accurate tag. Like that good. Would be a tagline on a poster. Do you have any? Can you think of any, Eric?
Mine are bad.
Okay, go for it.
I don't.
We take cringe.
They aren't good.
Yeah, no.
Have you listened to the show before?
To the episodes?
Black Christmas, where everybody forgets about the Jewish girl right outside the window.
Ooh. Yeah, that's real. That's a good one because it hits way too close to home. Yeah, she's like the second girl killed.
And you'd get some of those Hanukkah viewers.
Yeah. There are a few menorahs throughout the house as well.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that a weapon at one point?
You don't spin a menorah. That's a dreidel.
It's a dreidel.
You got another one, David?
Yeah. This is a line from the movie. This is the kind of the dumb girl. Not dumb, but just kind of aloof. Do I just turn on the oven and put the ham in? It feels too easy. I laughed so hard.
That is a great line.
That was me. That's me right now. Like, that's me throughout my whole life.
I should have been cooking ham my entire life.
Yeah, and then later she's like, if I'd have known it was this easy, I'd been cooking my ham my whole life. Yeah.
I have another direct quote.
I was like, yes!
This is my last one. Direct quote. Black Christmas. Think about it.
I don't get it.
She describes about all this voodoo magic, and it's the only reason things could be happening. And she looks at the driver and goes, "Think about it."
Oh.
And I was like,
yeah, that's a deep cut right there.
Got it.
That is a deep cut.
Okay, this is my last one. Black Christmas, a diva cup full of terror.
Diva cup full of terror. Aren't all diva cups full of terror? I still like my note that I wrote down. Fat cop likes mayo.
I love the mouth sounds as he's eating the sandwich. Just like the most like, just the gooeyest mayo sounds that they could muster.
For a tagline that two people didn't really have anything written down for, that turned into one of the better taglines I think we've ever had.
after watching Black Christmas, you'll be asking yourself, where the hell did the cat go?
Hey, where did the cat go?
Okay, new game. Called Black Christmas or Black Christmas or Black Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I prepared an intro for this. It's
Black
or
Black Black
or shoot, I didn't do that right. Okay, let's do it again.
Yeah, you did.
It's
Black
or
Black
shoot. No, I got to get it right.
How hard is this to do for you?
It's
Black
or
Black
or
Black.
There we go. Okay,
Bravo.
perfect.
You were able to coordinate your mouth and your finger quite expertly.
All right, thank you. So Black Christmas or Black Christmas or Black Christmas is a game where I will read off an actor or character from one of the Black Christmas movies. So either the 1974, 2006, or 2019 Black Christmas. And you have to guess which year it's from.
Okay.
So I'll keep score. Eric and David will play each other. And we'll see how we go.
All right.
Can you remind me of the year choices again?
So 2006, 1974, or...
74, 6, or 19.
Yeah.
Okay. Number one. This is an actor, Imogen Poots.
I'll let you go first.
I think that's 19.
What do you think, David?
Imogen Poots. I think I did hear that in 2019. I think I heard Imogen.
Sounds like a fake name.
You're both correct.
Okay.
Hey.
Imogen Poots is the main character of 2019's Black Christmas. Okay, number two. This is another actor, Michael Rappaport.
Oh, okay. I know who that is. Go ahead.
06?
Yeah, I'm also going 06 on this. That's got to be. Because he wasn't in this movie.
Michael Rappaport was in the 1974 Black Christmas. It's not
What?
the Michael Rappaport you're thinking of.
What the fuck?
It's a different Michael Rappaport.
I was really, he's got to be like 4 years old.
Okay, number three. This is a character. Wow. Lauren Hannon.
So this is a character in one of the movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Lauren Hannon. So I'm going to say 2006.
The 70s original.
David wins it. It's a character from 2006, Black Christmas. Lauren Hannon.
Lauren Hannon.
Okay, number four. This is an actor, John Saxon.
That's a ballsy name.
Strong name.
Got Saxon in there. Go
70s.
You're going to say 70s.
Yeah.
What makes you lean that way?
The spirit is telling me.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this one, 2019.
Okay. Eric is correct.
Oh.
John Saxon was from the 1974 Black Christmas.
I even saw it. Have you seen the original?
I have not. So I came into this a little
You're just blind.
bald.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little green.
This one's a character, Marty.
Marty. Okay. I'm going 1974 on this one. That's
Marty.
a very 1974 name.
06.
You're both incorrect.
Oh, damn.
That is one of the main girls from 2019.
Marty.
This is Marty.
Oh, man.
I can't remember which one.
Shocking.
Okay, we're tied up.
Oh, that must have been the girl with the boyfriend.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, because she was the least.
Or the one with the glasses, maybe. I don't know.
All right, we'll see. We'll see if you guys win or you tie.
What are we at right now? What's the score?
We're at 2-2.
2-2, and is this a tiebreaker, or do we have a couple more?
This would be the tiebreaker.
Okay,
this is all I got.
Okay, here we go.
And it's probably not. It's the hardest one.
Okay.
This is an actor. Carrie Elwes.
Oh,
Carrie Elwes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's let Eric answer first.
Mm-hmm.
Are you being sarcastic about how it's hard, or
I don't know.
I'll say the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely 100%. I'm going with 2019 on this one, Bryce.
David wins.
Are you not familiar with Carrie Elwes?
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
He's Princess Bride guy. He's the bad guy, the professor in 2019.
I really whiffed that one.
Professor.
I was thinking of a female for some reason.
I can't remember what his name was. Professor Goggins or something.
Dick McLickens. Yeah, he was a jerk.
I think I made a note of this too.
He was a real jerk.
Professor Gelson.
Gelson.
I made a note. Has there ever been a character in a movie with the last name Gelson that wasn't a dweeb or a villain?
I don't know that I've heard of many Gelsons.
Just feels like a dweeb name.
Yeah, it sure does.
Okay, that was
black.
Or
black.
Or
black.
I love that Bryce goes to the effort of doing these one-off games. He loves it.
This one was real hard. Yeah, so that's our show for today. Please follow us or subscribe and leave a rating on Apple Podcasts if you can. If you don't have an iPhone, steal someone's that does, and also leave a rating. Please share the podcast with a friend. That's the only way we grow. We don't advertise. It's all organic. And again, if you want to support the show, go to our website, horrormovietalk.com. The 2 buttons at the top will help us out. If you're going to spend money on Amazon for Christmas this season, click through from our website. We'll get a little taste of that, as well as if you want to be super generous and support us directly and get access to exclusive content, become a patron on our Patreon account. That's patreon.com/horrormovietalk. Or you can click through from our website. Special thanks to Eric for coming on the show and sitting through a 3rd installment of Black Christmas.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you guys check out My Brothers and I.
Yeah, just at My Brothers and I.
At My Brothers and I on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And check them out. Stream them on anywhere you stream your music.
Thanks again for having me.
This absolutely. Was fun. Yeah, we were always welcome. And with that, everybody, you guys just have a
Merry Christmas, Patrick.
You have a Merry Christmas, Patrick.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
God didn't do that. You did it. You're a fucking narcotics agent. I knew it.